matter into our own hands.
Tell us what you think of your world. What do you think of the gas?
Is power.
Do you know where you are? Will the things I told you change the way you think about your world? Do you know where you are?
Information is power.
How you doing? This is Information Man. I just want to say that I've had the time to step back and really examine what's going on with Monique and the whole situation. Just a week or so or two ago, she was asking for folks, particularly black folks, to boycott Netflix because there was a dispute about her contract. They wanted to offer $50,000, and they're offering her white counterparts, as far as female comedians, a lot more money. And Monique has, how can I say, she's earned the right to be able to be the boss, in my opinion. She has an Oscar, she's accomplished, she's done many different things. And I know people are on both sides of this. Some people have criticized her for expressing how she feels about how she feels that there's a bias. But we have to keep in mind, and black people, we must recognize this, that Monique is not being what you would say blackballed. I don't like that term, blackball. Monique is being whiteballed. And what I mean by that is that black people don't control Hollywood. We don't control or own studios as we did in the past when you had black directors and black folks making movies. A lot of us think that Tyler Perry or maybe even a Spike Lee are some of our first black directors. And no, they're not. Black people were making movies and were doing their own thing just fine, owned their own studios back when we had segregation. And Monique, what she's experiencing is what any of us can experience on our job. Usually when you are black and you speak up and you speak truth to power, you will be labeled as a troublemaker. You will be seen as aggressive, angry. You have the term angry black man. That's where that comes from. And then you have the term loud black woman. So because she's willing to stand up, speak truth to power, and say, hey, you're not going to shortchange me. You're going to pay me what I'm worth. This is why Monique was treated this way. And she's been disrespected by Hollywood. Now, it was one Lee Daniels who told her, you're not playing the game, Monique. That's why they're blackballing you, or I like to say whiteballing her, because black people don't control anything in Hollywood. Now, that's part of the system. That's the system of white supremacy. You've got to play ball. You got to do things the way they want you to do it. You've got to sort of like compromise your values, your beliefs, and things of that nature. And I think that Monique has a point there. She's definitely earned the right to be able to be paid decently for her, for her comedy routine. I noticed that there's a lot of black comics that are a hell of a lot funnier than their white counterparts, but yet the white counterparts are always getting all the roles. And normally when you have black people in movies, we're always playing a sidekick role, or we're always being put in these movies where we're playing a cop or some unimportant character. And especially when it comes to black males and our masculinity in movies, it's always destroyed, distorted. And so Monique makes very good points. I think we should support her. I think we as black people, we spend a hell of a lot of money going to movies every year, buying the popcorn, buying the DVD, the DVDs, CDs, music. We support a lot of entertainment in this country. We're big time consumers, which is one of our problems, is that we are consumers. So I think we should definitely look at this situation with Monique, because what's happening to her happens to black people on our jobs, happens to us in school, where we're labeled, we're mistreated, we're picked with. And we have to understand, in America, this is very important, folks, in America, We are culturally conditioned. We are culturally conditioned to believe that white is superior and black is inferior. And as a manifestation of that cultural conditioning, we will underestimate, undervalue, and marginalize black people. And we'll do it to ourselves as well. Let me repeat that. And so because of that cultural conditioning, this is why Monique finds herself in a situation where she's in a world that is that's a non-black world that controls entertainment, controls all the areas that we engage in socially in this society. And she has been put in a situation where they're not hiring her, they're not giving her opportunity. They're basically, and I say it again, she's being whiteballed. She's not being blackballed because black folks don't make decisions in Hollywood. It's people that are non-melanated who make the decisions in Hollywood that impact us. So this is something that's been happening to black folks on our jobs, entertainment, whatever it may be. When we stand up and we speak truth to power, this is what happens to us. And I think we better recognize that, even though you might want to laugh at Monique, you may want to say, what is she talking about boycotting Netflix when I like watching Netflix? We have to understand what's happening to her happens to everyday black folks on our job, just doing what we try to do to live. And she certainly has a right to make a living, and I think she certainly has paid the dues to make the decent pay that she feels that she's worth. We all, as people, feel we're worth something. And so just think about that. You know, we all feel that we're worth something, that we have value. Another thing that I want to break down is that you keep hearing reports that Monique is difficult to work with. Those are the same stereotypical things that usually happen to black people on the job. When we stand up, we speak truth to power. We're labeled as troublemakers. We're labeled as too difficult to work with. So a lot of what Monique has been labeled with and been peppered with is the similar stereotypes that black people usually get labeled with when we stand up for ourselves. And you always have to consider the source where it's coming from. And we're getting these reports out of Hollywood from people who don't even look like us most of the time. So just be aware that Hollywood is not our friend. All they really want is our dollar and for us to be consumers. And I think it's high tide that black people start making their own movies, meaning in their own movie studio, to create their own movie studio, the way we used to have it when we were in segregation. Everybody out there listening to my video, thank you for taking the time. This is the Information Man. Don't trust the corporate media out there. Always stay one step ahead of what's going on, and always speak truth to power. I'm out.